Did you talk about that with him?
Yes, he told me to study hard.
What do you want him to talk about your father?
Yeah, everything's still frosted out
And
there.
he was a good person. Like, he would always want to do things. He would take me out when he had something to do.
You're the apple of his eye.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Two families in the great fertile valley of California. One of them was new. The other, far more. That's all for now. I'm Lester Holt. Thanks for joining us.
One of the investigators brought somebody over to me saying this is our minor crime advocate. I was stealing my self-worth already because of the massive police presence. They said that they believed that he had been murdered.
Yeah, I had to call the neighbor this morning, tell him I'm collecting
Dad
money
was
for the trash.
happy about his kids.
He was a loving
He
man.
said, okay, I'll be over after I wake up. I guess he works
So
first
it was
shift,
puzzling and alarming when he vanished.
She said Craig's not here. I said, that's weird.
I didn't know what was happening. I know something is wrong.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
got
know
him
how
on
wrong.
third shift
A
now,
disturbing
again.
discovery in the basement. What vertebrates
It appeared that there was something ambushed.
Revelations about Frank's wife.
Craig didn't
Said he got home
want to
about
believe there was a
7:30.
romantic relationship between them. It became painfully obvious that there was.
And in the park, two young men acting strangely. They identified Alan Rydell and Alexander Rydell.
The victim's two sons.
Finally, a string of security videos would lay bare the bone-chilling truth.
Diabolical plan this morning.
Seems that way.
I was stunned. Absolutely stunned.
I hate it when they repeat shit, man. They need to
This is a family divided
update all
like
that
no
shit.
I'm Lester Holt, and this is Dateline.
I'm Lester
Tonight,
Holt.
the
This
depths of evil revealed. A place they call Devil's Bathtub. Here's Andrea Kennedy.
This is Devil's Bathtub.
Gotta go visit the daughter tomorrow. We're taking Michael down to see his mom tomorrow. Down there at the rehab place. Yeah, Putnam Avenue. For 90 days. She'll be out probably around her birthday, I hope. In January. I think the 29th. I'm not for sure. I have to look it up. Parole. Yeah. Man, last night, man, I had a hell of a time sleeping, man. My fucking left leg was hurting like fuck. It's still throbbing. Oh, Luke's, not Luke, but your buddy's coming today. your brother's mother-in-law's coming to watch football with us. Bring a 12-pack and some weed. And you said the game starts at 1. Alright, well call me when you leave. Alright. Later.
Without his mother, he moved back to Rochester and put aside college with his goal of becoming a Navy SEAL.
He left his dream to put his siblings first.
Moxie Copplestone.
The older kids
Moxie Cobble. Moxie.
custody
I don't
got
even know what to
sticky
say.
with the two youngest kids.
The divorce still wasn't final in the summer of 2016.
That's the door.
Robin
This
said
is
there
the
was
door I've been
tension over
seeing.
the shared custody of the 6 and 12-year-old kids. Though Craig told her he was trying to make the best of a difficult
About to
situation.
drop all the way down from.
Phrases that he used the most recently
That would have cracked my head.
was that he saw light at the end of the tunnel. But it was stressing him out.
And on top of that, something weird happened to Craig that summer. Someone broke into the townhouse where he had recently moved. He thought it was no big deal, maybe one of his sons playing a prank. But his sister was worried, and she urged him to report it to police.
My name's Craig Ryder. What happened? I wake up at midnight with a sharp pain in my arm. I jump up. This will sound crazy. A hooded black figure, not a black man, was running out of the room. The reason I had to file a police report is my BlackBerry, which wasn't taken that night.
Robin made a point to talk to her brother every day. July 19th, just a few days after the break-in, was no exception.
Said I'll call you in the morning. Check on you and the kids.
But morning came, and Craig wasn't returning Robin's calls.
If he had been in a meeting and felt his phone go off, he would have sent a response in a meeting. Call you later.
Concerned, Robin decided to pay a visit to Craig's townhouse. And inside that house, the beginning of a dark family drama that could never be unwritten.
I know something is wrong. I don't know how wrong.
What was going on with Craig Rideout when we come back? A discovery in the basement was about to provide an ominous clue. Found hidden woodsbed in the walls. What they found next would change everything.
This is a big moment in this case.
It is. When Dateline continues.
I thought I was managing my moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Then I realized something was missing. My symptoms were keeping me from being there for her. So I talked to my doctor and learned Humira is the #1 prescribed biologic for people with Crohn's disease. Humira helps people achieve remission that can last, and the majority of people on Humira saw significant symptom relief in as little as 4 weeks.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened because of blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and no more worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common. If you've had TB, hepatitis B, or are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores, don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, remission is possible.
not a party until you play Mario Party Superstars. You can turn things up with 100 mini-games and 5 classic modes. Anything can happen when you get the party started. Mario Party Superstars. Rated M1, only on Nintendo Switch.
Rakuten is an easy way to earn cash back on the things that you're already buying in the stores that you're already shopping in. There's thousands. There's so many stores you can choose from.
And they're adding new stores every single day.
Have two choices. In-store, you can still get savings, or you can do it online.
Yeah, it's in-store and online. Exactly. So it depends where you like to shop.
The browser extension to me is the best. It activates and just shop as normal, and then you're good to save.
It's almost like you're getting paid to shop. Go to Rakuten.com and sign up today for a $10 bonus. News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines right now.
Well, that's how you cheat the game, you ding-dongs.
Tonight, the major announcement of a COVID vaccine.
And this is a significant moment.
Your news, whenever it happens, wherever.
No one can stop me. I'm a breakthrough, and no one can stop me. Oh, oh, I know this part. Oh, Zingo Conero. I just cheated again. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to go. You wanna know why I can't get the key? Papel. It's because that's a magnet right there. I have to go through the line and see where it goes to see where the switch is.
Says, oh, I figured it would be on before someone came with her.
Laura told Rob it had been Craig's night with the two youngest children. But one morning, Laura said the kids texted her to say Dad wasn't there when they woke up. She said,
You think I need to clog something?
Decided to look around her brother's house. She went upstairs to his bedroom. The door was locked.
It's really odd. Did you worry that he might be in the bedroom? I was worried something the bedroom happened to him. And yes,
But exactly what, she didn't know. She called 911.
My daughter has not been answering texts or cell phone calls or emails.
Deputies from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office arrived at Craig's.
The idiot knows where I am.
To search the
I have to get out of here.
Her brother was a grown man. This was his private property.
Oh no.
As investigators, he spoke to Robin briefly.
She called a number of times. And just made her arrangements.
We're gonna get this.
Laura had gone home and came back to the townhouse with two young kids to see what was going on.
does she express that she has any idea where Craig might be?
She didn't. She said that she had no idea where he might be.
Laura told the deputies Craig was home and the kids were dropped off the night before.
See, you're a little bit concerned about him, I guess.
I didn't even know
Where to think?
His personality hurt. The investigator asked the kids some questions. First, his 6-year-old daughter.
Was he there when you woke up? The last time you saw your dad was when?
The 12-year-old son told the same story.
When was the last time you saw him? What happened this morning?
You really just did that.
Texted PJ2G.
You really just did that. I need that green key.
Just for him.
Yeah, I was concerned. No, nobody wants to hear.
No. had to do this.
Investigators finally had their
I remember seeing this before.
inside. What do you find?
Initial walk,
But it's gonna be hard.
very well put together. There doesn't appear to be any forced entry.
The investigators unlocked the master bedroom. It was undisturbed. No Greg. We looked around, found nothing, then headed to the basement. What do you find?
There are boxes on the shelves, are all neatly stacked. Everything is kind of in its home. And on the other side, it's kind of disheveled.
It was messy, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary for a basement. Until they noticed something alarming.
We more closely examined the area, found some written blood spatter on the walls and on the shelving unit.
Crime scene techs sprayed the basement floor with luminol and found even more blood. Blood that someone tried to wipe away. Then, a discovery inside a garbage bag.
We find what appears to be a rod. It's two handles with some paracord knotted so that you can hold on to both handles.
I got all the boxes I need, Mike.
Used for strangulation. The evidence.
Boxes.
One that wouldn't end
Rescue
well
me.
for Greg Rideout.
Coming up, a bombshell about Craig Rideout's soon-to-be ex-wife.
You're looking at me, kitty. I can show you.
And then, just transform the case.
I need to get that machine. And now I need to get this other one without the machine. Where did I throw that stupid thing? Okay, I got a flashlight. Okay, I can use this flashlight. This is
All the turkey, all
Boom.
the sides,
Boom.
all the sweets, all the seconds,
What?
season long. Shop today and make it an all the holiday.
Huh?
Get ready for new delicious options, conveniently ready to heat, eat, and
But where's the other boxes?
Fresh mealtime solution. And we're so much more than just a meal. We always cook up new ways to bring flavors ready for your minutes. Like our
I didn't do
that got to
anything.
eat in these nice
I
entrees.
now need this.
Pizza, taco kits,
Boxy!
all conveniently found at the Candy Deli departments. Home shop, dinner ready for you. Scan your camera now to shop delicious food. Imagine a place free to stream without a meeting request. Free to enjoy savory bites and stunning sights. And free to reunite with old friends. And new.
Yeah,
It's
precious.
time to break free. Ready to break free? Plan your get sales. Feel free. You know how some carriers give you so little for your older busted phone you end up just living with it?
Where's that idiot now?
iPhone 13 Pro. Traded your older damaged phone. You break it, we upgrade it. You
You
miss a
gotta be
phone,
fucking nigga.
champagne flowing. Angel snowing. We upgrade it whether you're a current customer or a new one. Get iPhone 13 Pro on us at up to $800 to help cover your cost to switch. Because everyone deserves better.
Wow, my credit is awful. They say all you need is a free app, but how will that fix my score?
Who are they anyway? Why are they always saying things?
Wait, is this an inner monologue?
No. There's nothing inner about your monologue. Trust me, just knowing your score won't do. You should try creditrepair.com.
They say a lot of things about credit. We say enough is enough. It's time you tried something new, like credit repair from creditrepair.com.
Passion got your business off the ground. But passion doesn't pay the bills. Customers do. Klaviyo is the ultimate partner platform for e-commerce brands. Build customer relationships to keep shoppers coming back.
Thank you for your
SMS
donation.
and personalized web experiences. Start growing your business today on the free Klaviyo account.
All donations are welcome. you very much.
It was late afternoon, July 20th, 2016. Craig Rideout, father of 7, had been missing since early that morning. Investigators had discovered a horrid scene in Craig's basement. A scene that told them he wasn't coming home.
Started to find more and more items with a lot of blood.
Craig's sister Robin was waiting outside, watching the police action unfold in front of her brother's townhouse.
And then one of the Montgomery County investigators brought somebody over to me saying, "This is our violent crime advocate."
Did your heart sink when...
It did. And they told me that they believed that he had been murdered.
Murder in his own home? Investigators surmised it happened overnight while his young children slept. Who would do such a thing? Craig's sister told investigator Bolton about that break-in at Craig's home a few days earlier.
And wake up at midnight. We was
Remember that money?
He says he was upstairs in the roof bed. By somebody pulling a hair from the house. The male ran out of the bed and ultimately out of the house.
Craig told his sister he thought it was a prank, didn't know what to make of it. Nor did Robin, but she had some other information for the investigator. Details about her brother's marriage. How long had Craig Rideout and Laura Rideout been separated for?
About 2 years.
And it hadn't been a good separation.
It hadn't been.
The reason? Laura had a new man in her life, and it was, well, awkward would be an understatement. Her boyfriend was Craig's old buddy, PJ Tucci. Paul Tucci goes from being Craig Rideout's best friend to now being Craig Rideout's estranged wife's boyfriend.
Yes.
So that doesn't always work out so well for relationships.
Certainly not between the two of them.
Craig and Laura had been close friends with PJ and his wife Jennifer for many years.
All of the Tucci and the Rideout kids really grew up together. They would go out together, they had parties together.
But around the same time that Laura and Craig's marriage was falling apart, PJ's wife died from liver disease. PJ says he leaned on Laura for support, and Laura began confiding in PJ, his best friend.
His former best friend, yes.
In a romantic relationship now?
At first, I didn't want to believe that there was a romantic relationship going on between them. And I think over time it became painfully obvious that there was.
I didn't know I was going to fall in love with Laura. But that happened over time.
Does Craig know about this?
Craig sent an email.
What did it say?
It said, I don't know if you found yourself in a damsel in distress situation and you're just helping, or you have romantic feelings towards Laura. Either way, I'm happy.
That's big of him.
I thought it was an interesting thing. I don't know what he was trying to elicit.
It was certainly interesting to the homicide detective, but before investigator Bolton could run down that juicy lead, he got some news. 2 counties over, a shovel had been left by the side of the road. And 50 feet into the woods, a man's body was discovered.
They discovered that in the woods there's a body under his car.
Okay. Is it near your home?
Just down the road.
Could it be Craig? The victim's identity wasn't obvious right away. His killer wore clothes and used some kind of acid to intentionally disfigure his face. That sounds like someone had a major grudge with this person.
It certainly seemed like they weren't interested in him being found.
But even though the victim was unrecognizable, deputies were able to ID him pretty quickly. The answer was found in his pocket. When the body was found, the victim's phone was ringing. The person popping up on the caller ID, it was Robin Drew, Craig's sister.
As I was trying to reach him, the cell phone was ringing in his pocket.
And you're calling, and the phone's ringing in Yates County, and your brother's...
And my brother is dead.
Yeah. It sounds like some really dumb criminals to leave the cell phone in the pocket when they have gone to these great lengths of pouring possibly acid on this man.
It does seem that they overlooked a pretty obvious thing.
They had a crime scene, a body, and a marriage with a soap opera ending. And the next bit of evidence would lead this story to an even darker place. A place called Devil's Bathtub. A million things must be going through your mind.
It's a stranger, but Coming up, a chance sighting and a call to police. Saw a couple of males in the parking lot. Saw
Boom, 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 boom. Nice kitty.
Someday, you'll catch the perfect wave with an average of $550 worth of benefits to enjoy during your stay at fine hotels and resorts properties. Someday, can be any day you want. Sounds good with Family's Club.
Look at this guy. He's really working hard. You know what he'll get? Muscle pain. You know what he should get? Athlete. Dave says you can't. Athlete says you can.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
tonight, the major announcement of the COVID vaccine.
And this is a significant moment.
Your news, whenever it happens, wherever you are, it's here now.
Still to come on the Channel 2 News. Well, the waters are certainly receding now. Still too close to cross. We're home reporting from ground zero, as it's being referred to. Is in fact the Haitian people. The Haitian people know there's something about resiliency. What's the biggest risk right now? The troops movement. I want to welcome you to the first presidential debate. In fact, we've been told we can't do any part of it. Here's some Brazilian folks. Bring it in.
It feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now? What it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Howie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast. Free wherever you get your podcasts.
The case of the missing dad was now a murder investigation. Investigator Dave Bolton had been up for 36 hours working two critical crime scenes. The basement, where Craig was likely killed, the woods, where his body was found. And now, the investigator was about to be called to another location, that place called Devil's Bathtub. It's a secluded farm set deep in a 2,500-acre park. What is going on here? Why are you called to the scene?
There were some walkers in the park that saw something they thought was suspicious. They saw a couple of males in the park, parked up in the parking lot, and they saw their empty garbage bags being thrown out.
And why was a homicide detective getting a call about a case of suspicious littering? When deputies on the scene detained the two young men, they recognized their last name, Rideout, the same name as the murder victim in the case being worked by investigator Bolton.
They identified Colin Rideout and Alexander Rideout,
The victim's two sons.
the victim's two sons.
Colin Colin was in the park with his 19-year-old brother Alex, who had just graduated from high school. Investigator Bolton pulled out his iPhone, pressed record, and he and another investigator began to ask the brothers some questions. Younger brother Alex was first.
What's going on? Your brother out for a walk? Basically, I mean, we were just like out, and suddenly people show up, and it's like, well, that's... I've never really encountered police before, so it was like... You've never been in trouble before, right? No, I don't really do drugs or drink or party. I'm only... I'm 19. I'm doing college next year.
Investigator Bolton's radar was up. He knew Craig thought one of his sons might be behind that weird break-in. And now, here were his sons, acting suspiciously in a secluded park. The investigator decided to ask what they thought happened to their dad, but without telling the boys that Craig had already been found, brutally murdered.
He'd always, threaten, oh, I just disappeared. And I figured he was with the next flight to Mexico.
Colin said he didn't know where his dad was either.
Have you heard? Well, I emailed him last night. I didn't hear from him. I heard from him Monday, and we picked up my brother and sister, I think, Tuesday.
The investigator wanted to keep Colin talking, and he did. So what is Colin opening up to you about?
Colin starts to talk about the family dynamic and how he believes his father might be having some sort of mental issues or some sort of breakdown.
Like, I've been kind of worried about him for, like, stuff's just been freaking me out.
Then, the investigator asked him directly what was in the garbage bags they were trying to get rid of.
I'm worried about what's going on. I'm telling you, I can tell you it's my bad because what's in your bag will be better.
You know, I don't know what's in the bag.
Investigators didn't think Colin was being honest.
Do you believe that? I do. Can we seek truth? Yeah. I'm hoping to be a little truth into me, okay? Yeah.
All that talk about truth worked. The boys admitted something big. They'd been at their dad's house the day before. And listen to this.
Well, there was a lot of blood in the basement. I was worried that, something had happened. A lot of blood. Yeah.
They just placed themselves at the scene of the crime. And when the investigator opened up those garbage bags,
Bloody clothing, there's a bloody sneaker, there's some work gloves that have some blood on them. What would appear to be evidence of the murder.
Colin, the would-be Navy SEAL who always put family first, and his book-smart brother Alex, with plans to go to college, were taken down to the sheriff's office and arrested. They weren't charged with murder, but with tampering with evidence, something to hold the boys while the investigation continued. How do you process that?
To be honest, the shell shock would be the best word for it.
Colin called Chelsea from jail.
Hey, hi.
Colin.
What? I was arrested. My lawyer said I'm just not supposed to talk about anything.
What was his state of mind like? He's confused. He loves his family. Was it hitting a brick wall?
Hello?
Is there any part of you that said maybe I don't know how?
Hello?
He's just the guy that had everything ahead of him.
Hello?
To run away for. So did you wonder then how he ended up with the garbage bags with that evidence? I think it would give anyone just a pause to think about it, just question. But we also know him, and we know the man he is.
Investigator Bolton didn't know the Rideout kids, but he knew there had to be more to the story than two nice boys deciding to kill their dad. His investigation turned to their mom, Laura Rideout, the woman who had been married to Craig for more than 20 years, who had raised those sons. Robin had been telling investigators about the divorce, and it wasn't pretty.
There's a contentious separation. I said, well, they're not really supposed to see each other due to drama.
At the same time, Laura and her new significant other, Craig's former best friend, DJ Tucci, were preparing for a big change.
Their intention was to move as a family down to North Carolina, and it was supposed to happen in a couple of days.
But Craig had primary custody of the two youngest. He wouldn't let Laura take them out of state. So then, how's Laura Rideout moving to North Carolina?
That's a good question.
Robin was suspicious of Laura from the moment she arrived at her brother's townhouse. Remember, the day Craig went missing, Laura was there, and she was inside, tidying up.
When I get in, the son arrested her. It's Laura. Standing in his kitchen. That's thin. That's kind of...
That would be odd.
It was in my head. I'm thinking, what are you doing here?
Cleaning up a crime scene. That's what investigator Bolton suspected. In fact, the boys admitted it was their mother who gave them the bags of bloody clothes. Just hours after arresting the two sons, investigator Bolton headed to the home that Laura shared with PJ Tucci.
I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned.
Coming up, security video from days before Craig Whiteout's murder leads to a sickening revelation. When Dateline continues. Do you feel like the bad guy in this? Why should people when they know people are getting it? Has it been worth it? It's tremendous. These things are living a great life as politicians. How do you explain why your case has become so important?
It's an issue dividing communities and influencing elections across the country. An in-depth look at how one small town confronted race in education, how it tore the community apart. This is Southland. All episodes available now.
Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject. Meet the press reports. All episodes of season 3 are now available on demand on Peacock.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now? What it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Howie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. In the city of Angeles, two kindly old ladies wanted to help homeless men get off the streets forever. And so they did. Listen to the Thing About Ellen Logan, the new podcast from Dateline and Keith Morrison. This is happening now.
Right now on Morning News Now.
Tonight, the major announcement of the COVID vaccine.
And this is a significant moment.
Your news, whenever it happens, wherever you are, it's here now.
The Meet the Press Chuck Todd Cast. Free wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning, I'm Savannah Sellers. Another giant leap for mankind.
They want folks to shelter in place until this storm pushes through. Traveling to the United States is about to get a lot easier.
Morning News Now, streaming weekdays at 7. Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject. Meet the press reports. All episodes of season 3 are now available on demand on Peacock.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. We'll take you to the front lines of the story, bringing your news feed to life. Streaming live every night. It's your news playlist.
Top Story with Todd Thomas. Nights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Do you feel like the bad guy in this? Why should people when they know people are getting it? Has it been worth it to make this through? It's so like living a great life as politicians. How do you explain why your case has become so important?
Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject. Meet the press reports. All episodes of season 3 are now available on demand on Peacock.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Coronavirus comes back next year.
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. And you know a lot. Go your family will watch nightly news kids edition. Still to come on the Channel 10 News. The water is as early receding.
You think I got this, kitty? Thank you for the hope. Let's do this, kitty.
this fight. Some of them short scrambled frank, walking into the first presidential debate in that recall campaign. Florida News for
Bingo! Who have saved my life, kid? Haha! And here's the birthday boy's place.
Show up at the front door that evening. Wasn't dressed for a trip to the county jail, but that's where she was going.
She told her to get shoes, and Laura loves to wear heels. And they said, "Why you didn't get a different kind of shoe?" So she throws on a pair of Nike golf shoes, and they came down, and I watched them arrest her. The scariest thing I've ever seen.
What did they?
Her kids are there. You know, her kids are sitting there watching the mother get arrested.
Did she say anything?
She said, "What for?" The arresting officer said, "You had to have been expecting this." And she was like, "No, what?" She said, "If I was expecting this, I would have taken the law."
Huh?
PJ says he thought there had to be some sort of misunderstanding, a terrible mistake. But Laura ever said, "I just wish Craig was out of our lives."
No, she wanted Craig to have a relationship with the kids. She didn't have animosity towards Craig.
But when deputies searched the home where Laura lived, there were clues everywhere. Inside the master bedroom, a key fob to unlock Craig's car. In another bedroom, blue tape, identical to the tape used to make that garage found in Craig's basement. Bits of incriminating evidence in the home where PJ also lived. When Craig was killed, where were you?
We were at home.
You were with Laura?
I was with Laura.
The investigator believed he was with Laura, but not innocently at home. 6 weeks after Craig's murder, PJ Tucci was under arrest too.
I can tell you this, I've never been to the guy's house. I know where it is, drop kids off. I've never been in it.
Were you part of the overall plan to cover it up?
There's no plan.
4 people were under arrest, and all 4 let out on bail. They were only charged with evidence tampering, while investigators tried to figure out exactly who did what. No one was talking anymore.
Laura, anything to say?
All 4 lawyered up and
Woo!